The mountains had always known silence. But that morning, the silence felt different. Thicker, heavier, as though even the wind dared not breathe. A lonely cabin stood against an ocean of pine, its rough, hewn logs scarred by years of storms and solitude. Inside, Caleb Wren, once a soldier, now a man who preferred ghosts to people, was stirring his morning coffee when a faint creak came from above. It was the groan of wood and rope. He froze, setting his mug down. He grabbed his rifle and stepped onto the porch. What he saw stopped him cold. Hanging upside down from the edge of his roof was a young woman. Blonde hair swaying in the chill air. Wrists bound, her blouse torn where a piece of scorched leather had been pressed into her skin. The letters were jagged and black. API Lovar. Caleb's gut clenched. Someone hadn't just wanted her dead. They wanted to send a message. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of stories that heal hearts, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Stories of Kindness. Your support helps keep these stories alive. Caleb had seen this kind of cruelty before, in the wilds of the New Mexico territory, branding someone, especially a woman, with such words wasn't just punishment. It was a death sentence. The tension between settlers and the Apache had been simmering for years, and anyone accused of sympathy was as good as condemned. He knew this too well. His own sister had vanished after being accused of helping an Apache boy escape a lynching. Caleb never forgot the way his mother cried that night. The woman's body was limp, her skin pale from hanging too long. Caleb cut the rope and caught her before she fell. She was light as air, smelling faintly of smoke, leather, and fear. Inside, he laid her near the fire, feeding her water drop by drop until color returned to her lips. By nightfall, she woke fully. But the look she gave him wasn't gratitude. It was wariness. The gaze of someone who'd been running for so long she no longer trusted stillness. Caleb didn't press her with questions. Instead, he ladled stew into a bowl and set it before her, letting the warmth of the cabin do the talking. Slowly, over days that turned into weeks, pieces of her story began to surface. Not through words, but through her silences. She flinched at distant hoofbeats. She stared too long at the tree line each dusk. And when the wind carried the faint cry of a coyote, she would close her eyes and whisper something in a language Caleb didn't know. Eventually, he learned who she was. The daughter of a railroad foreman, raised in a town where the Apache were called savages. But where others saw enemies, she had seen people. Years ago, she'd hidden a wounded Apache boy and nursed him back to health. For a while, no one knew. But secrets have a way of surfacing. When they found out, her own people turned on her. They branded her a traitor, beat her, and dragged her into the mountains to die. Her hanging from Caleb's roof wasn't random. It was a warning. To her. And to him. Because Caleb Wren had once served in the army units sent to deal with the Apache. He'd left in disgust after seeing too much blood on both sides. Those who left messages like this wanted him reminded. No one walks away clean. He knew keeping her would invite danger. Word would spread. Men would come. But each day, the idea of sending her away grew impossible. They were both marked people. And somehow, that made them less alone. When winter came, so did the trouble. 3 riders appeared on the mountain trail, rifles glinting under a gray sky. They called out his name, demanding he hand her over. Inside, she stood frozen behind the door, trembling. Caleb whispered for her to run, follow the creek to the old mine. But she shook her head. She wasn't running anymore. The gunfight was brief but brutal. Caleb's rifle cracked through the thin air, sending the riders scattering. One bullet tore across his ribs, and he stumbled. The woman rushed to his side, dragging him inside as she barred the door. With shaking hands, she tore strips from her clothing to bind his wound. Her voice quivered, but her hands were steady. They waited for hours, listening to the sound of hoofbeats fade into the distance. When spring came, peace returned. The riders never came back. Perhaps believing the mountains had swallowed both of them. Together, they rebuilt the roof, mended the fences, and planted a small patch of green behind the cabin. The scar on her shoulder never disappeared. But neither did her courage. And for the first time in years, Caleb heard laughter inside those walls again. He came to realize something: profound loneliness isn't the absence of people. It's the absence of someone who truly sees you. Two broken souls, branded by cruelty, found healing in each other's quiet company. And in that hidden cabin among the pines, they discovered what they'd both lost long ago: peace. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Stories of Kindness. Every click helps us share more tales of courage, compassion, and second chances. And before you go, tell me in the comments, have you ever stood by someone when the world turned against them? Your story might inspire someone else to do the same.